Do I have to say my name?
Yes, say your name, please.
Jess Bellamy. Okay, so welcome to my presentation on reflective management practice. I've decided to address my PowerPoint in self, team and organisation, so split it up into 3 sections and then look particularly at the modules from SHU. I've taken a similar approach to Chloe in terms of the metaphor of a mountain in terms of representing my journey. So just to recap on the brief that I was given, so identify the impact of learning throughout the year, addressing self, team and organisation together with my reflection on this, and then you ask the questions for me to address what I've learned and how this has impacted me in the workplace. So firstly, self. The picture on the far left represents presentations. So for me, the way I structure my presentations, when I first came into the business, I didn't really know how best to structure my presentations. Practicing this at the end of each module been really beneficial for me, as well as going on Presenting with Impact course with Nestlé and practicing techniques in our sales and marketing module. And then the middle post-it note that says get organised is all about how I've had to basically organise myself in terms of tight deadlines. So in the modules at university, we obviously had 2 or 3 days to get together a presentation, which meant as a group we really had to be organised. The third picture over here, this represents the finance module, one of the modules, to be honest, that I was really dreading. Do not like numbers, do not like maths, anything to do with that. But actually it really helped me to conquer my fear of maths and things like that in the workplace. So when looking at profit and loss and balance sheets and the company cash up, which in demand planning I had to look at monthly, it's really helped me to improve in the workplace. The bottom left picture, coaching. So obviously the coaching course that we did at SHU, that Irene led, as well as a coaching course I did with Nestlé. It's really helped me to have coaching conversations with my line manager and my buddy, as well as other employees, to help me improve on my personal development. The middle bottom picture shows the SPIN model, which was a model that we covered in the sales and marketing module, which is all about types of questions that you ask and when's best to ask certain questions. So you've got situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, and need-based questions. So that for me was really something that I use in the workplace. And then the bottom picture is all about teamwork and how I partake in a different role in different teams. So whether it be my demand planning team, the marketing team, or the fast start team, and how different teams have different ways of working and how I play a different role in different types of teams. Addressing team. I picked out 2 key learnings for me that I think really impacted team. The first being the Insights Discovery course that we did, where we first came up with what we thought we were or what we thought we might be and where we thought we'd place ourselves, and then actually getting our packs back and seeing what our colour preferences were and how that really impacts us as a group. I think it's been really beneficial, not only for us as a group of fast starts, but going back to my marketing team and being able to put my colour blocks on my desk and people coming up to me and knowing exactly sort of how to speak to me and me knowing how to speak to others really helped. And secondly, emotional intelligence. So not only facilitating the course with Chloe and Kirsten, which really helped my learning, never facilitated anything like that before, helped with my organisation, like I said on the previous slide, but has really helped my understanding of emotional intelligence, which is a topic that I didn't know anything about before. I also think emotional intelligence itself is something that is really beneficial for teams in order for you to be able to adapt your emotions and adapt your feelings towards others. And then looking at organisation, so I've split this into the left picture represents my demand planning placement and the right picture represents my marketing placement, and how I've got 2 very different outtakes and inputs towards the organisation from those 2 different placements. So firstly, gaining confidence with numbers. Me going into demand planning, if you'd have told me that this time last year, I'd have probably laughed in your face because I would have told you I wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't like numbers, but actually I've come out of that 6-month placement sort of a better demand plan and knowing about demand planning and having dealt with numbers for 6 months. Working in teams in both my placements, completely different dynamic teams, but both really effective teams. Presenting in the monthly brand review. So this is in my marketing placement, something that when I first went into marketing and saw how it was run, didn't think I could do. When my line manager put it into my objectives, I was a bit, that's very scary, but now I've done it and overcome it. That's something that is a big learning for me. Reading the cash up, like I mentioned previously, again, being able to read a huge spreadsheet full of numbers and understand it, really benefit the organisation. Coaching conversations, like I previously mentioned, being able to have these conversations with my buddy and further improve, meaning that I can then add value in the organisation even further. Negotiation and compromise, so in demand planning there's a lot of communication with sales and being able to speak to different functions and negotiate on numbers. And finally, doing interviews for my kind of crowd, so linking to my HR module, as well as my sales and marketing module where we learnt about interview techniques. Being able to facilitate interviews at my kind of crowd was something that is a new experience for me and again a really big learning. Now looking at reflection, so one of the main takeouts from the RMP session at the beginning of the year was the ITIL model for me, something that I found a really clear way for me to be able to reflect, looking at incident, thoughts, emotions, actions and learnings. I quite like to note down my expectations before each module and then reflect on them afterwards in comparison. That's a reflective practice that I quite like to do. I also like to reflect with my line manager and my buddy at work through discussion, having sort of coaching conversations about my university modules is something that I do quite a lot, and going from module to module has really helped me generate actions to improve. I like reflecting through note-taking as well, so as an event has just happened or just before it happens, I take really quick notes to then help me reflect later on. And a group ITIL that we did this year a couple of months back down in Gatwick, I found really helpful. So we organised for us to all, after our first 6-month placement, get together and reflect on our placement. We then, a couple of months down the line, had another meeting where we created an ITIL to generate actions and summarise our learnings and then improve for our next 6-month placement. And now this is just a main takeout from each module. So firstly, the reflective management practice model, like I just mentioned, ITIL, really big takeout and learning for me, as well as understanding the importance and benefits of reflecting for not only yourself but in a team as well. The customer service and delivery module, which was a sales and marketing module, how much of an impact a good presentation can have, not only on the team but on the organisation as well, because crucial decisions are made from really great presentations. Also learnt the importance of a great questioning style. To be able to ask the right questions can really deliver results. Learning interview and presentation techniques as well. And then onto the supply chain module, how lean can be used in the workplace and how it relates to go see think do's in Nestle. So something I'm quite heavily involved in both my placements is NCE, so seeing lean in that module and process mapping and how I can compare it to what we do at work was really beneficial. As well as, despite having spent 6 months in supply chain, I still managed to learn about 4 or 5 more roles that I didn't even know existed in supply chain in other businesses, so that was really great. The business performance and financial module, like I mentioned previously, the cash up, but not only that, but the importance of cash flow and how much this can have an impact on the business, and the emojis that actually all of us create, how they can have such an impact on the business as well, and knowing what they are and understanding them. Contemporary business environment, so understanding how what happens externally that's outside of the business's control can actually affect Nestle. And then organisation environment, HR, learning about different company cultures, like Chloe mentioned previously, going back into the workplace, having to write our essay. And for me, really understanding about Purina's culture versus Nestle professional culture versus SMA and how it's different even within Nestle.